This lesson is on the distributive property and simplifying algebraic expressions. For this example, to find the perimeter of this rectangle, you could do it one of two ways. You could add 7 and 13 to get 20 inches, and then multiply by that 2 to get 40 inches, which is the perimeter. You could also multiply the 13 by 2 to get 26. Multiply the 7 by 2, you get 14. Add those answers, you get 40 inches, also the perimeter. So you can multiply 13 by 2 and 17 by 2 and then add, or you can add them and multiply by 2. This is an example of how the distributive property works. There's more than one way of working things. Okay, this next page, there are several ways of working these problems. We're going to skip over these, but these could be worked by distributive property if you wanted to. All right, so here are some notes that you should take on the distributive property. Go ahead and press pause, take your notes, and then we will talk about it. The official name of the distributive property is the distributive property of multiplication over addition and subtraction. So you're multiplying over either addition or subtraction. There can be a plus sign here or a minus sign here. So the first example says 3 times n plus 4. I can't add n plus 4, so I'll go ahead and do the distributive property. So it's 3 times n, then plus 3 times 4, 12. That was multiplication over addition. The next example is multiplication over subtraction. So I'm going to multiply 6 times x, which is 6f, then minus 6 times 9, which is 54. It doesn't matter whether the multiplication is in front or back, you still want to keep the subtraction in the same order. So for this third example, it's 7 times g, 7g, minus 7 times 3, 21. Here the orders are important. I need to leave the subtraction problem in the same order. Okay, go ahead and think what you think this will be equal to. I'll give you a few seconds. And let's see how you did. The answer should be 7 times r is 7r. Then there's a minus sign. 7 times 9 is 63. Now go ahead and think this one through. You want to write it in simplest form with as little marking as possible. Think about your answer. So hopefully you said negative 6 times m is negative 6m, plus sign. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. Now I can write that a little bit simpler with less marking. Negative 6m plus negative 12 is minus 12. That would be my final answer. Let's see what's next. Okay, we're just going to go through these quickly. This would be negative 11 times p is negative 11p, plus sign. Negative 11 times 4 is negative 44. To write it more simply, and I'm done. Next example, think it through for a second. I need to do this either mentally or physically right there. Now when I do my distributive property, negative 7 times m is negative 7m, plus sign. Negative 7 times negative 8 is a positive 56. My final answer. And for this one, remember I need to keep the order of the subtraction intact. There's the bell. We'll ignore it. So we do negative 6 times L. That would be negative 6L. I see a minus sign, so I'll put a minus sign. Negative 6 times positive 20 is a negative 120. This should be written simply as negative 6L plus 120. Another way of looking at it is I could have right here changed minus 20 to plus negative to when I would have negative 6L plus sign, and then negative 6 times negative 20 is a positive 120. Either way, I get the same answer. So this one would be negative 3b plus sign from that, negative 36. Written more simply, that would be my final answer. Now we're going to look at something that's actually related to the distributive property. We won't go into that right now for the sake of this video. This is called simplifying expressions by combining like terms. I think that you should press pause and take notes on these two examples. Notice, for example A, the like terms are 3x and 4x. 3x plus the 4x is going to give me, the pen's not showing up for some reason, but that would give me my 7x. And then the plain old numbers, 9 plus 17 is a positive 26, so I'll put plus 26. For example B, I have an 8m plus a negative 5m. Remember, minus 5m is plus negative 5m. That gives me a negative 13m. And then for the plain old numbers, I have 15 plus negative 32. That gives me a negative 17. So instead of putting plus negative 17, I could put minus 17. Okay, think about this one. Ooh, how many k's are there? That's 1k. 1k plus 7k is 8k. And then a negative 9 plus a positive 20, that's a positive 11. So my answer is 8k plus positive 11. I can't make that 19k because it's not 8k plus 11k. This is simplified. Okay, let's look at this problem. Start it in just a second. Maybe I should be careful and do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, either mentally or actually on paper. It doesn't matter. So let me do my variable first. Negative 9g plus a positive 2g, that's a negative 7g. And then my numbers, negative 23 plus negative 16, that would be negative 39. And then negative 39 plus negative 8 would be a negative 47. So instead of writing plus negative 47, I can just write minus 47. My final answer. Okay. Now for this one, I have subtraction, I have multiplication, I have subtraction. I guess I could try to do what's inside parentheses first, but there's nothing to do. So now, according to the order of operations, I've got to do my multiplication. Okay, now let's do it this way. Let's change minus to plus negative. So right here, this is my multiplication problem. This looks like distributive property because it's multiplication over subtraction. So negative 2 times m is negative 2m, and then negative 2 times negative 4, right, would be a positive 8. So now I'll bring down the part that I didn't do. Oh, look, there's 1m right there. 1m plus negative 2m is negative 1m, also known as just the opposite of m, plus 8. I'm done. One more example. Let's see. I got some multiplication right here, so I probably have to do this first. This looks like distributive property because it's multiplication over subtraction. Negative 4 times 7 is negative 28. Remember, I'm keeping this order intact. I'll go ahead and do much of change. Negative 4 times the opposite of h would be a positive 4h. Now I can add on this other stuff. That will give me, let's see, a 4h plus 9h, that's 13h. Plus, let's see, we got negative 128 plus a positive 13. I believe that's going to give me a negative 115. So I'm going to write my final answer as 13h minus 115. Okay, well that's it for this lesson on distributive property and simplifying expressions by combining like terms.